one thing I wanted to mention about Lester, who, as you can tell, I'm a big fan of his. I wasn't sold on him at first when the decision was made, but I have to say he's earned my respect. I like him a lot. But one thing where I do fault him is he's not getting the tight ends involved enough, in my opinion. I think that Luke Lachey is not being utilized properly. He's not being utilized enough. And I just wanted to get your opinion on why that might be, or if you agree with me on that. Do you think he's so focused on wide receivers that maybe he's just not using the tight ends as much? I don't know.
Well, I would have to look at the numbers. So understand that you're coming from a place where you have seen the tight ends utilized more than the wide receivers for year after year after year after year. That's uncommon.
I know that. And it's just like I was saying about defense the other week, like against Michigan State. That was not an Iowa defense. That was garbage compared to what we're used to. That was utterly unacceptable. But I also recognize that as far as defense goes, I'm talking about a defense that's usually top 10, if not top 5 in the country. So I understand that my perception is different from a lot of people's. But still, when you have weapons, I don't care if they're tight ends, wide receivers, fullbacks, whatever they are, you should use them.
And so then also understand that I believe between Sullivan and McNamara, they threw 27 passes yesterday. I think one of them threw 13, the other 14. That if you go through the statistics of each game, McNamara's gone through a lot of games where he's only thrown like 14 passes. And again, that's not conventional college football. So if he's throwing 14 or 18 passes and only completing slightly more than half of them, there just aren't that many catches to go around for anyone.
No, I understand that. But, you also have to make calls that are makeable. And until the last, little while, I don't think they have the weapons necessarily to make all those million catches like, other teams do. Iowa's run first. That's always been the case.
They are. Absolutely. So I'm not completely answering your question because I don't know, but I'm just bringing a few things to light that could be factoring in to the lack of tight end production.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair enough. I mean, I guess we'd have to look more at the stats. And like you said, how many times are they actually passing and what percentage of those go to wide receivers and tight ends, et cetera. I haven't done that. I'm not a big, I just don't sit there count how many passes are being made. I just don't do that. All I can do is watch and judge that way, I suppose, which I know isn't the most scientific thing. But, I like to think that I'm okay at analyzing my favorite team. I mean, I don't have to count in order to see what's going on necessarily.
Of course, every team is built differently based on the scheme and their approach, and then having maybe their best players, the tight end, maybe their best players, maybe their 3 best receivers are all wide receivers and their tight end is more of a blocker. So it changes from team to team. But I guarantee, just to kind of confirm my first point, that the percentage of catches by the tight end at Iowa is much higher than other teams across the country, and maybe Tim Lester is bringing it more into balance.
Yeah, that I was actually going to say that next. He actually said, and I can't remember when this was, he said what he would like to do is have it be 50-50. That is his goal. And that goes back to what I was saying about he has to call plays that are makeable, right? We might not be at that point yet. Wide receivers have improved a lot. We see a lot better wide receiver play this year, but we might not be at that 50-50. And part of that's also reliant on what the quarterback can do. And as of right now, even with Sullivan in the game, we're going to remain a run-first team. That might change as Sullivan gets more developed, right? But as of right now, that's what the story is, I think.
Luke Lachey leads the team with 24 catches. Jacob Gill has 19. Reese Vanderzee has 14. Addison Estrenga, another tight end, with 11. So you've got 35 catches out of those 2 tight ends. You got Zach Ortworth with 6. So you got 41 catches out of your 3 tight ends. And your receivers are at 19 and 14. That's only 33. And then a smattering of a couple here and there. Obviously, Seth Anderson played for the first time yesterday, and he's going to factor in more heavily going forward. But you've got 41 catches out of those 3 tight ends, and you've got 33 catches out of your 2 top wide receivers.
That's interesting. I didn't realize that. That's probably, I bet if you looked at last year's stats, it would not be anything like that at all.
Well, let's see what we got. Last year, we've got...
Ooh, can't read that. There we go. Thank you.
we've got, so let's not miss any wide receivers. So at wide receiver last year, Caleb Brown, 22, Seth Anderson, 11, Nico Ragiani, 31. So we're up to 53, 64. Deontay Vines would take us to 76. And that's pretty much it for the main wide receiver. 76 catches out of those guys. And then you had Eric All, 21, Luke Lachey, 10, that's 31, Addison Estrenga, 31, that's 62.
Steve Stylianos.
Yes. Steven Stylianos had 8, so that's 70. So about 80 some to 70 on the wide receivers. Yeah, I'm slightly surprised by that, but those are the numbers last year. So actually you had about a 55-45 ratio in favor of the wide receivers last year. And this year you've got about the same, or maybe even like 60-40 tight ends.
That is interesting. Wow. I'm surprised they don't put Caden Weegan on the field a bit more at wide receiver.
Oh, yeah.
That guy's got wheels. Did you see that yesterday?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my God, that was a thing of beauty. I loved it. I've been waiting. I knew he would get there.
He is fun to watch.
Oh, he's amazing. Absolutely amazing.